Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chris. I'm with No Boundaries Marketing Group, and today we're going to cover Google My Business for chiropractors. I know this is one of the easiest tools or marketing tools for a local business to utilize. And again, it's consider your gateway to Google, if you will. Again, we're going to go through some specifics with it here today, but again, this will give patients or potential patients, this will give existing clients insights into your clinic, again, what you offer, how you offer it, when you're open, when you're not open. I mean, there's so many tools and resources within this. So again, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So creating your listing. So again, I want to really make this as simple as it is. Within Google, again, you can see my screen here. So it's google.com/business, however you want to get to it. Again, if you just do a simple Google search for Google My Business, here you go, first thing that comes up. And again, this is going to take you to the portal here. So you have a couple of options. If you already have one set up, you can manage your listing from here. There's other ways to get into this. I'm just, for those who have not created one, or for those who, maybe optimize, those are two different paths that we're going to take. But again, I already have Google My Business accounts, obviously, as an agency set up, so I'm going to use the Manage Now. But again, if you're new, just set up a Gmail, really, really simple. You're going to click sign in here, and you're going to do much of the same paths. Again, I'm just going to go ahead. I got to use this one since obviously we have this set up for us. But so I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my business profile here, since again I have a personal Google or personal Gmail. This is going to be obviously our business account here. And so when we look at this, if you already have your listing set up, you should see it listed down in here. And so again, that's a really, depending on how many businesses you own, you'll obviously see them in there. But again, for us, obviously we have multiple clients, but for you guys, you should really only see one. If you don't, or maybe something's expired, or it's an old business, whatever the case may be, to add a business, if you already have a Google My Business profile set up, just really simply click add a business. Now, this is the part that it's the same for everybody. So once we click add a business in here, this is the same screen everybody sees. So whether you don't have one and you're just setting up for the first time, or you have an existing profile, again, you're going to end up here one way or the other. So find and manage your business. It is super, super, super important. I stress this to everybody. Do not create duplicate listings. It's a nightmare. And so what that means is that if you have a profile that exists already, don't create a new one. And here's what I mean. Do yourself a very simple favor and do a simple Google search. Type in your practice name. One of my awesome clients is Trinity Chiropractic in Glendale. So a little shout out to Cheryl and Dave. They're awesome, awesome, awesome business owners. If you ever need feedback, advice, anything, those two are just second to none. So you can see here, again, Trinity Chiropractic does come up. Let's just assume it didn't. What we want to make sure of is we want to say, put in your city, Glendale, Arizona. Just try to get as granular as you can with this. You can see they already have a profile set up right here. And so what you would want to do, again, a little bit different of a path. If you have this already but don't necessarily have access to it, you're going to click this Own This Business link. That's going to take you through a process. And again, so it reverts back to my primary one. But if you notice here, boom, I can request access to it. It's going to send it to the account owner's email that's set up on this, which happened to be Dr. Dave's. But again, I would click request access, and then it'll give that owner a few business days to respond back. If they don't respond, again, then I can go in and I can take it a step further and try to verify to get access to the account. So again, if you have this already or one's been set up, please, please, please make sure you go in there and request access to it. What we don't want to do is come in here and just start over again. Because again, if you just type in Trinity Chiropractic, or you type in another business name, so on and so forth, whatever yours is, and one exists, then you're going to create a duplicate listing, and it's not fun to try to fix all that stuff. So again, that'll be for another time, another place. We'll explain that. So as you're going through this, again, just type in your business name. Again, if it exists, it should come up here. So again, you're going to see that. I already managed this profile, so again, we're not going to be able to go through the steps, but it's super, super, super easy in that you're really it'll walk you through. You're really not having to put much thought into it, because Google's going to ask you for each individual step. So real quick, what we're actually going to do I'm going to create a dummy business. And so again, I'll delete this profile out, but let's just say XYZ Chiropractic. Okay, it doesn't exist, so there you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here. Now, what I want to stress to you is this. When you're doing your business category, again, you need to be as direct as you can. So again, by default, let's just, for all intents and purposes for a chiropractic office, we're going to say chiropractor. Now, does that mean that's the only thing you do? Of course not. There's a ton of other options in here. We'll get to those in a minute, but your main category, again, chiropractor, or if there's something more specific for your business, again, you know, depending on what type of medicine you practice, again, you can obviously adjust it from there. But there is another place to add secondary categories, but we'll get to that in a minute. As we go through here, you want to add a location. So there's two different types of profiles that you can create within Google. There's a location-based profile, and then there's a service-based profile. And again, most chiropractors are going to have a physical location. If you happen to be mobile, maybe there's another option. But again, for this, we're going to go with the physical location. The address, again, this is super important. Make sure you get it right because if you don't, they're going to send a verification card to this address, and that just means that you're not going to get it. So if you have a suite number, if you have something, be very, very specific with this. So I just put in a fictitious address. We're not going to go through with it. So again, they don't obviously get a postcard for this. Do you also serve clients outside this location? Do you have a mobile extension? Is there another option? Again, no, I don't. Most chiropractors are going to have one location or maybe multiple locations, but stick with the no there. Phone number, put in obviously your phone number. Most of this stuff is self-explanatory. Website URL. And just to explain a couple of these things here, so again, business number, pretty self-explanatory. Website URL, pretty self-explanatory. If you don't quite have one yet, let's say you have a website being built, that's perfectly fine. You can update that later. Just put I don't need a website. Or again, if you have another option, Google will generate a free website for you. That's pretty crude. It's going to actually be based on your Google My Business profile that we're creating here. But if you want to explore that option, do that. I will just tell you, don't click this if you have a website being built or you're going to have a website built for you. Even if you're in your early stages and you're just launching this ahead of time, that's perfectly fine. Just put in the future URL there, even if it doesn't have a page built on it yet. So when we click next here, this is going to go ahead and ask us now to verify. You've been verified, so now I can manage it. A couple of options. And again, this doesn't, Google, depending on, you know, I don't want to say what mood they're in, but depending on a variety of factors, they may ask you to verify, so they may mail you a postcard. They may ask to call the phone number and provide you a verification number on the phone. They may email one. I mean, again, they'll present the options. Just make sure you follow the directions with that. So now, again, once we get that done, we're going to come in here. It's going to ask us for the business hours. I always say, and I understand some people might be on call. There's really no setting for that. So we want to make sure that we set the right expectations with consumers. And so that's where we're going to go ahead and list, again, our physical office hours. Pretty simple. Again, let's just say it was noon to 9 p.m., something like that. And again, you'll have to do that for each day. When you get into this next step here, messaging. This is a big deal now. So messaging, again, is a relatively new feature. It used to be exclusive to mobile. Now it is also available on desktop. And what this means is that you can let clients basically think of it like an SMS feature through Google. Always make sure to, little pro tip here, make sure on your phone or your office manager phone, just somebody needs to have that Google My Business app downloaded on their phone. That's a much easier way to manage this once it's set up. But again, you can accept messages here, and this is a fantastic way to reach that younger demographic, because I hate to say it, younger demographics, they tend not to want to pick up the phone anymore. They want to use chat features. They want to use SMS. So this is a great way to engage with that. And I guess I can't even just isolate it to an old or younger demographic. I mean, really anybody nowadays, everybody's moving more and more to that easy text-based conversation. So we'll just, for all intents and purposes, we're going to click accept message here. Business description. If I can make a suggestion here, I will tell you, please don't copy and paste this from your website. You want variety. You want Google to recognize different keywords and different things. A great, well-done business description is going to have 3 components. It's going to have keywords followed by geographies followed by your business name. So a really easy way to set this up, and I'll use let's do at XYZ Chiropractic in Mesa, Arizona. We specialize, well, most places can't say specialize. So we provide a variety of treatments, so on and so forth, from neuropathy to this, to that, to this, to that. We specialize in the Webster technique. You know, again, you're throwing in a lot of these keywords, and really what we've done is we've tied our business name into a geography, into a variety of keywords. Sometimes people read this and they think, it sounds a little weird. And it's, well, not many people read that, first of all. But second off, it's going to prove its weight in gold with it when it comes to SEO. So again, try to formulate this. Try to really think about it. Don't just, put something together. Again, 750 characters. Try to use as much as you can here. But again, you are limited to 750. So next up, optimizing the profile. We need pictures. And so again, right here, it gives you a couple of picture options. There's actually another place within the platform that you can add additional ones. So again, photos of staff, photos of the building, photos of the inside, outside. Upload until you can't upload anymore is a great way to say this. And this, again, is why having it on your phone is a little easier, because believe it or not, most smartphones nowadays have phenomenal cameras on them. So you can just go around, snip, 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 and you're good. I would take pictures of your treatment area, your waiting room, your staff working with patients, as long as you have a release on file for them. You want to make sure, be sensitive to HIPAA. So obviously, there's things that you can and can't do. Sometimes just an empty clinic is okay. It shows cleanliness, so there's a lot of benefits to that. But at the same time, again, if you could show that patient interaction and then you have a HIPAA release on file, I think obviously that's going to be in your best interest as well. But I'll leave that to you guys to figure out. So again, we don't have any photos to add, so we're going to skip this, but just make sure you add photos whenever possible. It's going to ask you for Google Ads. Again, we don't do those. Don't set up AdWords through this. This is not a great place for that. I'll teach you that. That'll be a whole nother little webinar later on down the road. But again, that's AdWords Express that goes through here. And if you feel like wasting some money, go to town. But business is almost ready now. We keep walking through the steps here. And again, I'm going to go through each of these just so you're familiar. But now we got a pretty much I don't want to say a completed profile, but we're pretty close. So to go through each of these different components, again, you got your dashboard right here. The first thing that they put is posts. Why? Because it's super important that you use this feature. So posts is kind of Google's way to get businesses involved with social media. So think of it like a business social media platform. Put your COVID update, add offers, updates, events, products, whatever you want to put on there, go to town. Posts can expire within 7 days, so you got to be cognizant. You want to make sure that you're posting often to this. This is Google's new social, basically. They failed epically countless times, from Google Plus to all the different versions of that have been out over the years that they've really never been successful with. Well, they are pretty successful at this. And again, think of this like a LinkedIn almost, that it's your gateway to social for your business. Where LinkedIn might be a little more B2B, this is definitely a B2C platform. It's about getting you visible out into the community. So we'll talk a little bit more about this, but absolutely make sure you're doing this. You'll notice too, and I will put one more little update in this, as you click on one of these and it comes up, if you notice, the first thing it wants is images. Why? Because guess what? We're in we live and thrive on dynamic images nowadays. It's what captures our attention. So make sure before you go and do this, and again, this is why I say it's much easier to do this on the phone, because you can snap a little picture and then it's in your photos to use as you post this. So you can have the same functionality online. Write your post, add a button, do whatever you need to do. Again, very, very simple to do that, but I would encourage every week at a minimum, you should be in here and you should be creating posts that go out on your Google My Business page. Next up, we have info. So when we look at info, again, really simple. This is where I told you before, you're going to have some additional categories that you can add. Obviously, we have the business name here. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on chiropractor. And again, other categories. And this is where you got to think outside the box. Every practice is different in what they do. So let's see. I'm just looking to see if there's neuropathy. Like I said, these change periodically, so Google will add new ones in. So again, just think outside the box. If you have something where you're doing, maybe you have an RD on staff, so you have a nutritionist, boom, we can add nutritionist on here. This is just going to open you up to additional searches. Again, I'm going to put a little caveat on this as well. Don't put categories that are loosely affiliated with you. What we don't want to do is mislead people. This all has to do with quality, searcher intent, so on and so forth. There's a lot more to this than you might realize. So if you're loosely associated with something, meaning that, again, maybe it ties into another service that you do, but it's not a direct fit to say that you're a nutritionist. Maybe you just offer suggestions to people here and there. Stay away from that. Again, I've seen instances, chiropractors will put like pediatrics on there. Again, that's more for pediatric or pediatricians, not necessarily chiropractic. So, like I said, use this with caution. I wouldn't add too much, but I also wouldn't skim by. Make sure that if you do it, it's listed here. It's just more visibility you're going to get. Now, again, the difference between these two, this is your location. This is a service-based business. So we discussed it early on, where you have those two different options there. Well, here you go. This is where if you were a service-based business, you'd see a radius or you'd see cities listed here and not your address. So that's where that is. I can't stress this one enough. Make sure your hours of operation are correct. That is a big, big, big one nowadays, especially with COVID and our businesses open, aren't they open, so on and so forth. So many things going on right there. I would absolutely make sure these are updated and consistent across the board. Make sure your website's up to date, Yelp's up to date, Google My Business is up to date, Facebook is up to date. Everything should be synonymous with one another. More hours. So this is where, again, if you offered additional services, senior hours, so on and so forth, I know that's becoming popular with like supermarkets and drugstores, stuff like that. If you have online hours or maybe you do virtual, so let's say you do weight loss, and you do weight loss virtually with clients. So you have a consultation, maybe you have some extended hours with that. That would be fantastic. Let's see here. Add a short name is coming up next. Again, you have phone number here. I don't think I need to go through that, but again, you can also add a secondary phone number. So again, if there's this is not for another location. This would be, let's just say you have an appointment line, something like that. You can add additional phone numbers, although one name is usually recommended. A short name, absolutely you should have this. Again, they're going to provide suggestions as short and sweet as you can make it. I'm going to explain why this is important in a minute, but let's just go XYZ Chiropractic. And we're going to apply that here, that we just took Google's suggestion. This is why it's so important. So when you look at this right here, you can actually take this little short code right here. So again, g.page / and whatever you put. This is great to be able to put into email marketing and stuff so that you can encourage reviews with your clients. So again, I'll show you another place where you can get that, but that's a really, really, really important one. We come down here, accepted health insurance. So if you are a practice that accepts health insurance, again, you can add those in there. Again, it's just one more thing that can help you stand out amongst the crowd. So fill out as much of this as you can. Appointment link. So this is if you schedule appointments online. If you have a COVID-19 policy, I highly encourage you put it here. Believe it or not, it is at the top of people's minds still. If you go to Google Trends, you can actually see it's still a huge search. So very, very important. Virtual care link if you offer telemedicine, stuff like that. If you sell products in your clinic. So again, products and services are different. I want to be clear. Products are physical products that people can take home with them. So if you sell, let's just say, arch support for feet, if you sell CBD products, I mean, whatever it is you have in your clinic, make sure you list them out here. Again, the more you put here, the more visible you're going to be as a practice. For services, same thing. Again, go to your services page. What type of services do you offer? Now, this is, again, we're going to get a little bit into SEO here, so maybe this is more than you want to bite off right this second, but I do want to make sure that we talk about it. So within services, what we want to do is we understand that general chiropractic or chiropractic work is, you know, the umbrella that exists for the business. But under that, what conditions do you support? I see this constantly being left to the wayside, where businesses will go through, they will list out where Okay, they have a chiropractic page, an About Us page, so on and so forth. But what do you, I don't want to say specialize. Again, I understand that that's not the right word, but do you do prenatal? Do you do pregnancy? Do you help people with arthritis? I mean, really got to dig deep here and find out, what type of conditions can you support as a chiropractor? And again, we can list off some basic ones that most chiropractors support, but again, this is going to be specific to your business, so I would encourage, think about that, and then again, be as descriptive as possible. So again, chiropractor, main one here, but again, add a custom service, and then let's do lower back pain. And so now within lower back pain, we can add, if you come back here, sorry, I went a little quick there. So under services, you'll notice that exists now under chiropractor. And now if we click on lower back pain, now I stray away from putting price. That's just my own preference. If you want to put something there, and again, I don't know how you could if you do treatment plans, but again, I would leave that blank. But for a service description, I would make sure, again, you have 300 characters you can use. Try to use as much as you can. And again, describe how you support lower back pain. At XYZ Chiropractic in Mesa, Arizona, we use the Webster technique, or we utilize the Webster technique to blah, blah, blah. Our patients typically find relief within 3 to 5 visits, or, again, you can go however detailed you want to get, or as broad as you want to get. But this is an important one there, and you want to do that for each of your different services. Now, coming back up to info, again, you want to add as many services as you can. So coming back up here to info, we have from the business different attributes that you can add. So again, Black-owned business, veteran-owned, women-led, those are important ones. Within your building or your office, do you have an elevator, wheelchair accessible entrance, parking lot, restroom, so on and so forth. So go through these, and again, these amenities or the attributes are really important to have. The most important one right now that I feel is, again, surrounding health and safety. Because of COVID, people are unsure of how to interact with the business. CDC requirements, which obviously we need to follow, show us health and safety. We know that masks are required. Again, so just go through this. Click off what you're doing and what you're not doing. I mean, just be honest about it. Planning, LGBTQ friendly. Again, online care if you offer it. And again, depending on what services, so depending on what we select up here in terms of categories, that'll dictate what's available here for us in terms of what we can and can't put in there. So sometimes you'll see some people that have additional categories that you don't, and that's because their services are, or their categories are probably different. That business description that we typed in earlier is right here. Again, make sure that that's optimized. Add an opening date. And again, back to photos. We talked about this early on. Logo, cover photos, videos, as much as you can add, go, please, 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 add. If you click the plus button up here, you can just simply add these photos to it. Like I said, not rocket science, it just takes some time. If you click this arrow right here, you're gonna see, back to what I had told you before, there's some additional options for you to do. So within interior, exterior, again, lots and lots and lots of options. Bookings, so if we go back over here, actually, I'm sorry, I went a little bit ahead. Next up is insights. We're actually going to circle back to that in a minute. Next up is reviews. So again, this is back to that G-page link that we used earlier. We want to make sure to blast that out to as many people as we can, as often as we can. I mean, reviews are a huge portion of what we know the major search engines are looking for. So again, want to give them everything that we can to get our business found. So make sure reviews are in there. Big point, make sure you're responding to reviews. If it's positive or negative, again, you need to make sure people took time out of their day to leave that for you. And again, if it's negative, well, guess what? I want to get the last word in. So I want to make sure I respond to everything. For a positive review, I really want to thank people for taking time out of the day to help me grow my business. So again, you can do the same thing there. We talked about messages already. So again, you need to make sure that messages, if you're going to answer it, so again, I put that caveat, if you're going to accept that and you're going to add this onto your profile, make sure that you're available or somebody's available to manage that. Photos, talked about photos, don't need to go through that again. Bookings, so again, if you have a bookings option, again, depending on the type of services that you offer, Google can link to a booking software. And so again, there's some various ones out there, like restaurants have specific ones. So again, for your particular profile, you might have some options there. We talked about products already. We talked about services already. This is that website that we talked about earlier. Again, not great, but it's better than nothing. So again, all of this is generated based on the information that you put in there. And again, they give you a little stock photo here. Please change all this stuff out. Reviews that are in there about us, and generic photos, a map of your location, so on and so forth. So again, make sure that you create that. You can also connect the domain too. If you have Google domains connected to this, well, again, another conversation for another day. Last but not least, users. I can't stress this enough. Make sure you have more than one person on your Google My Business page. Why do I say that? Well, because if you lose access to that page for whatever reason, you get locked out of your Gmail, can't figure it out anymore, it's always good to have another trusted person on there. So whether it's your marketing agency, whether it's an office manager, or just, again, wife, spouse, however that works out, try to make sure that you have more than one person that can access this that you trust. The keyword there is trust. We don't want to give access to, people that, I don't know, I think it goes without saying, but that we're not comfortable with. So as you go through here, again, lots of other things. You have some settings that you can adjust in here, what's important, what's not important to you. I don't think we really need to go through that right now, but that's the general gist of Google My Business. I'm going to give you a little pro tip here, and this is in the design overall. Again, a lot of people have given me questions about, hey, well, what kind of picture do I do? Make sure you have a good logo in there. Make sure you have a good background video. Well, let me tell you, there's specific sizes to that. You can Google that. Again, Google will tell you that. But more importantly, we use Canva. It's canva.com. And on Canva, you actually have a creator in here that if I typed in Google, so again, you can do, these are just a couple of different options, but you can actually create your design in here. So again, you can do Facebook ads. You can actually do a ton of stuff in here. It's really, really cool. If you need a logo, they have a logo generator. All of this is free. Again, some things you have to pay for, but most of it is free. So it's kind of cool. So again, play around with that. And again, if you need the dimensions for it, really simple. Google My Business header size. And there you go, 1024 by 576. So, and then you can just come into Canva, custom size, 1024 by 576. There we go. There's your header. And the other cool part is, again, got a ton of options over here that they actually put together for you. Just stuff that's been done before, that you might be able to adapt. Try not to take this stuff and just use this. Anything can be swapped out. Anything can be customized in here. So if I wanted to, let's just say, use this one, what it's doing is it's looking at the size measurement, the 1024 by 576, and matching it up to other projects that are public. And so, again, we can swap out anything we want here. We can change the text to whatever we want, so on and so forth. So, again, tons of options. It's a lot of fun when you get going on this. If you have any questions, like I said, I think that's a pretty comprehensive overview of this. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Again, I'm an open book. I'm more than happy to help to get businesses off the ground. I always tell people advice is free. So, again, feel free to call. Our office number is 602-377-7773. And other than that, I appreciate you watching and have a wonderful day.